Okay, Hangout on here is started.
Welcome to Saturdays with Tara. I'm Mary Beth at the Law of Attraction Club on the web at theloaclub.com. If you're on the conference line, remember if you have questions or comments to press *6. If you're on the Hangout on air, this is our introduction to the theme of the week. All of this is also being simulcast on our conference line, and we'll continue on the conference line with more discussion and Q&A after the Hangout. You're welcome to join us. Robin will be bringing through Tara for us today, and later Rachel will bring through Tara as well. She will be joining us. So welcome Tara and Robin and Rachel.
Welcome indeed. So heard on one of our calls this week, I'm a worrier. I make everything 10 times bigger. So let's talk about you curing your worry habit and turning you into a joyful creator. And let's be clear here. When we say there's a cure, we're not talking about a pill you can take. What we are talking about is a set of concrete steps you can take that can move you from that old path and onto the yellow brick road. We're talking about a new way of thinking. We're talking about making different choices, choices you can make, choices that perhaps you haven't realized you could always make, choices that will change your life forever. Let's begin. From Abraham this week, worrying is using your imagination to create something you don't want. Think about that. Whenever you're worrying, you're wasting creative energy getting to places you don't want to be. Now we know that there's not one of you that ever wants to do that. So why do you do it? We're going to pull that apart a little here today, and as we do, we encourage you to make a commitment to change. Not just that's interesting, but a promise to yourself to begin to be a different you. Let's start by thinking carefully right now about that question. Why on earth do you choose to create what you don't want? So what's your answer? You could say, it's normal to worry. We say what's normal is simply what you choose to believe about you and your world. You decide what's normal. You could say, it's just the way I am. We say again, the way you are is just as much a choice as anything else. You're not a victim here. You're always a choice. You could say, I'm just being realistic about potential future events. We say phooey. Your thinking is upside down. It's your thoughts that are creating those future events. You could say, well, it's a habit I picked up. We say, bingo, now you're talking. And the first step to changing a habit you don't want is to get to this very place, calling it what it is. We're talking about changing habits. So let's think about a number of things here. What is a habit? What is worry? What are feelings? What does normal mean? What does being realistic mean? And then, how do you create a new habit? Firstly, what's a habit? A habit is something you've trained your superconscious to do, which means a habit is something you do without thinking about it. 99% of what you do in your life is habit. That superconscious of yours is working non-stop, taking in data, deciding what needs to be done, and doing it. Even when you're thinking, you're mostly on a track of one thought just follows another. When you're reacting, most of your reactions are pre-programmed. Even when you're talking, there may be some original thinking involved in what you want to express, but your superconscious is choosing the words you speak. What are feelings? When your now conscious beliefs and your trained superconscious beliefs are in alignment with what you really want to believe, you feel good. When your conscious or superconscious creative choices are taking you away from what you really want, you feel bad. That's it. The only feelings you ever feel are the extent to which your belief systems are in alignment. That's worth repeating. The only feelings you ever feel are the extent to which your belief systems are in alignment. You're creating it all. If you want to know at any time, in every instant, whether you're creating what you want, notice how you're feeling. What does being normal mean? It means fitting in with what most people around you do. But think about this. The world around you is always going to conform to your belief choices. If you believe most people behave in a certain way, by law of attraction, they will. And if you think of yourself as normal, then you will also behave that way. So you can't plead it's normal as a justification for anything. And that includes allowing unwanted habits to continue, because you're the source of it all. If you want to change something, embrace abnormality. What does being realistic mean? Being realistic means understanding your limits, when really you have none. It means deciding what you cannot control, when in fact there's nothing you don't control. It means facing the facts of the past as certain predictors of your present and future, when in truth the only power your past has over you here and now is what you give it by believing in it. You have to face reality. It's about the worst advice you'll ever hear. It's right up there with hope for the best but plan for the worst. Unless, of course, reality is what you want more of, because that's exactly what facing it is going to bring about. If you want to fix something, be unrealistic. How do you create a new habit? Good habits are things you want to keep on doing. Almost all of your habits are good ones. Bad habits are things you want to stop doing, and there are some of those. Back along that trail of what you've trained your superconscious to handle, some of those choices are no longer serving you. Whether or not they ever served you in that so-called past of yours, they have definitely now passed their use-by date. It's time to throw them out. It's time to commit to change. So let's look at the key ingredients of replacing old habits with new ones. 1. Be aware of how you feel. Are you worrying? Are you feeling bad for any reason? The first and most important habit to change is just plain noticing when you feel bad. Notice and 2. Notice that you noticed. Sure, you're aware right now, but where does ever-present ongoing awareness reside? It's mostly not the conscious you, it's the superconscious you. That vigilant, powerful part of you that's always monitoring things. Start training your superconscious to act as your GPS and signal to you something like, when possible, make a legal U-turn. So the next time you notice consciously that you feel bad, appreciate that you're noticing it. Tell your superconscious that this is exactly what you want to notice in future. And then, 3, what's the lie that sits beneath this feeling? Some choice you made back when is not serving you. Right now, you're believing something that's out of line with the real you. Dig into it a little. You'll discover you actually have the ability to pull it to the surface and see it for what it is. Now pick some way of mentally relegating it to the scrap heap. You could use the letting go process that's popular in this community. Then ask, for what do I want now? Allow yourself to start imagining. Be open to miracles. Get into the being place of having what you want. Make a commitment to move from doing is everything to thinking is everything. From automatic everything to deliberate some things. From being normal to being delightfully abnormal. From being so-called realistic to being realistic with a capital R. From worrying about what could happen to eagerly anticipating what will happen. If you're in the habit of making negative declarations about yourself, like, I'm a worrier, stop that silly stuff. That was the old you. The new you has committed from this time forward to focus a little more each day on what you really, really want. Let yourself settle more and more into that place of peace and power, fun and freedom. And as you do, you'll find that the better it gets, the better it gets. Better becomes the new normal. Your feet will land securely on those stepping stones in the stream of life. You'll move with ease and grace, and your confidence will just keep on growing. Try it and watch what happens. We, of course, will be with you. And now let's talk some more on these things.
This Hangout on Air was the summary of our theme for the week. Our longer discussion continues now on our conference line. It also continues on Thursday at 5:30 Pacific, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. You're welcome to join us using the number on your screen. Bring your questions or comments. All right. Remember to press *6